Today I want to look at a Mixolydian chord progression. That is, it's a chord progression derived from a Mixolydian mode. So it's purely Mixolydian. That is, it doesn't bring in any chords from other modes, parallel modes, or borrowing or anything else like that. And we're going to look at it in its basic triadic form first, and then in a few variations that use some more interesting voicings and extensions and inversions and things. And then I'll show you some chords you can add into it that are not purely Mixolydian, they're non-diatonic, but you can even spice up the progression even more. In order to understand all this stuff, you'll want a basic knowledge of triads, as in how to build major and minor chords, as well as inversions, knowing that you can put different bass notes under chords, and extensions, 7ths, 9ths, 11ths, that sort of thing. Not going to teach that in this video, but if you want to learn, you can check out the courses I have in the description of this video below. So what is a Mixolydian mode? It's basically just a major scale with a flattened 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Flat 7, so B flat instead of B, and back again. We're not going to do this progression in the key of C though. Today we're going to play in the key of D. So we're going to take this formula, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and apply it to the tonic D, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D. Yes, D Mixolydian. So all of our chords are going to be derived diatonically from that scale, from that mode. Diatonically meaning from the mode itself, not bringing in any material, any notes that are outside of the mode. So the progression I've chosen for today is a 1, 5 minor, 2, 4. The 2 and the 4 and the 1 are all the same as they would be in a regular Ionian major key, but the 5 is different because it's Mixolydian and it's going to be a minor. So in that case, we have D major, A minor, E minor, G major. So that's our starting point. Those are our basic chords that can be played in any inversion, whatever. We'll look at that in just a second, but it's 1, 5 minor, 2, 4. That's what we're working with. It's already a nice progression. That's already a Mixolydian chord progression, of course, that you could just use when writing songs, but we're going to dress it up a little bit, look at some variations, and talk about how to achieve those. This is just taking the basic triads, opening them up, and moving them up in range. So I have a second inversion D here, that is 5th, root, 3rd, taking the root and putting it up an octave. So we get this open voice triad, 5th, 3rd, root. And then the successive chords are just voiced as close as I can get them, that is changing the least amount of tones, and getting all the notes in. So in this case, this is our 1 chord, then our 5 minor chord, A minor, is going to be root 5th, flat 3rd. And then the E minor is flat 3rd, root 5th. And then the G is root 5th, 3rd. So they're all very close to one another. But you get this delicate, pretty sound. It's easy to understand, sounds great. Could use it for an intro or for a higher part, you know, if you're strumming some guitars or keyboard or something lower down. Strings could play this, or bells or voices or whatever, right? You could do something quite delicate up top with this sort of voicing versus doing something dense like we're going to do in just a minute here. So variation number 2 then is all roots in the bass with just some more interesting notes, extensions and such put in. So we can take a look at it. It's D major add 9. So this is 1, 3, 5, 9. D major add 9. Going to an A minor 7. So we are just adding the 7th in this case, but it's voiced 1, 5, flat 3, flat 7. Great voicing. Then going to this E minor add 9. No 7 in here. 1, flat 3, 5, 9. Which on its own sounds pretty like imposing, but somehow in this progression doesn't sound too bad. Sounds a bit soft. And then we have this G, I would say G6 sus2 chord. My little chord thingy here is not sure what to call it. It's saying D sus2 sus4 over G. If I put this A up to a B, it's a G6, and then so this is the 3rd of the chord, and I'm dropping it to the 2nd, so I call it a sus2, so I look at this as G6 sus2. When I'm doing these things, I'm thinking about melody as in the top note, the soprano note of every chord. So here we've got That's the little melody that goes on. Like if you were gonna try to sing these chords back, that's probably the notes that you would end up singing, right? When you hear this, right? Makes a little melody. That's important. Super important, actually. It kind of makes the whole thing work, honestly. Now we're adding in an inversion in here and some different extensions. So we have just the one chord, major triad, going into the A minor 7, just like before, except now it's A minor 7 over C. So it's in its first inversion. Looks like this. Flat 3 in the bass, 1, 5, flat 7. So this guy stays the same while this guy drops, and these two move up in thirds. Now we're going to the E chord, and this is a bit of a stretch for me. So here we have my pinky down here, the 1, the flat 3, the flat 7, and the 11. So this is an E minor 7 add 11, I would say anyway. And then we're going to a G major 7 sus 2. It's got a different name for that one too. D major add 11 over G. Okay, we're gonna call it G major 7 with the 3rd suspended, sus 2. So now we've got this melody. 1, 5 minor 7 to 2 minor 7 add 11 to 4 major 7 sus 2. Pretty good sound. Major 7 sus 2. Might be my favorite chord. It's pretty close. Now we've got a different inversion put in here and some different extensions put on it. The first chord is a 1 in first inversion, add 9. So this is D major, add 9 in first inversion. What a good sound. 3, 1, 9, 5. Going to A minor 7, add 11. 1, flat 3, 11, flat 7. Going to E minor 7, just straight minor 7. Going to G major add 11. This is an interesting voicing. So here we have 1, 11, 5, 3. It's when you've got the 3 rubbing against the 4, 3 against the 11, right? Generally, you're either going to voice them next to each other, like that. You often hear this sort of sound. Or you're going to get it with the 3 above the 11. So 1, 11, 5, 3 in this case. It's nice because then the 3 forms a major 7th interval against the 11th. But if we were to reverse this and put the 3 down here and the 11 up here, nope, not for me anyway. that octave plus a half step flat 9 interval between the 3 and the 11. But the other way around, we like it. So that's the 4 variations I want to go over today. Got some good variety there, I think, in terms of how to voice them, what extensions to add, and so on. So we've gone from, say, we had this one. Initially, this is just the basic thing, triads, which is already really nice. Here's that last one that we did. So now I just want to give some options for extra chords to add if you want to be even fancier, as I often do. Some of these involve notes that are non-diatonic, meaning not from the mode that we're working in, not from D Mixolydian. But you get some more variation to the sound, and I think it's kind of cool to look at them. So let's take a look. So a really basic idea in concept to get some more variety is to think, what is the operative note or notes of the given mode? In this case being Mixolydian, the operative note, meaning the note that differs from major, is the 7th. We get a flat 7. Can we get it in more often? Right now, at least in triads, we only have it in the 5 minor chord. In the A minor, there's a C. That's the note in this key. But we could put it in other chords, either inside the chords, like in the 1 chord, that would be the flat 7, like we talked about earlier. So you could play a D9, something like that. You could put it in the E minor, which would actually give you an inverted C major sound, that sort of thing. But if you put it in the bass, you can also get results. We could go D to A, A, E minor to, right? This is the G chord with a C in the bass. We're just like brute forcing a C in there. In this case, it ends up working out quite well. We've got, basically forms a G or a C major 7 sus2 chord, but it's just thinking the chord is G. I'm just gonna put a C in. C is the operative note in this mode. What happens if I just stick it in there? So you could put it in the first chord, in the second chord, third chord, fourth chord. C under every chord. Pretty cool, actually. All right, so check this chord out. So that is taking the E, which was minor before, and making it major. I did a video on this, actually. I'll link to it in the description, which is called, it's about flipping polarities of chords. So you're taking chords that are normally major and flipping them to minor or minor to major. In this case, the E was normally minor and we flipped it major. Here I'm also using it in first inversion because the bass line's interesting. We get D in the bass with this D major add 9 chord down to the A minor 9. And then the third of E is G sharp, which is right here. And so it makes a nice smooth bass line. So I'm playing E add 9 over G sharp, over its third, to a G major 9 chord. So the bass line, right? We could also flip the G instead of the E, so we could take the D, going to an A minor type, going to an E type, to, instead of the G major here, we could play a G minor 6/9 I'm playing. So that's just flipping the polarity of the given chord and I'm extending it, right? We could have done that with inversions as well, but that's the idea in general. So here's one more idea you can add for this progression. So in this case, we're taking the A minor 7, and for half of it, using the A bass note, and another half, we're putting the bass note that is a half step above where we're going. So in this case, it's E, we're going to an E minor, so I'm putting an F, and I'm keeping the top chord, A minor 7, and recoloring it as F major 9, so the bass is dropping towards E, into this E minor 11 thing, and then G chord. The idea being keeping upper structures the same as the chord people are used to hearing, changing the bass note, and then you get a whole different recoloring, even better if that bass note leads to the next bass note really smoothly. So I hope you dug those progressions. If you did, you can check out some courses I've got below on harmony and modes and music theory and composition in general. It's in the description. As well, I've got a Discord server if you want to hang out and chat music theory and music production with me and others. That link is down there as well. And if you liked the video, please leave it a like, leave me some comments. If you have any questions about all this stuff or you just want to chat about it, I'm always happy to talk about harmony. And if you have any suggestions for videos you'd like to see on modal harmony or anything else, please let me know. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.